Welcome back to the workshop. We have got a very busy day today. For some reason, everybody had a piece of equipment breakdown. I don't know what the correlation is, but everybody brought it in to me. First one we have is a little Troy built push mower. I believe he said it was sitting under a shed for the last year. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. We'll probably go ahead and run a little bit of my super clean on there, clean that thing up, make it look like brand new. I don't know why they painted the white paint on there. We can't do much with that, I don't believe. But other than that, it's a nice little lawnmower. And I think the only thing the tag is saying is that we need to clean the carburetor, which probably is true. It had gas, I think, left in it. So we'll see what that does. We'll clean that carburetor up. Also today we got 2 weed eaters brought in. These are both Troy built and a Craftsman, and they basically are the same thing. I don't normally spend a lot of time working on these. They're just not that expensive to replace them. But they agreed to go ahead and take a look at them if I can get them running real quick and not spend any money on them. Then do that. We'll kind of let them know what it's going to cost to get them fixed up. So we'll take a look at those. Same thing in here. I have a Craftsman chainsaw. I seem to be getting a fair amount of these lately. Looks in pretty good shape. It's been sitting, though, I think he said for a year. He found it in his dad's shop and just hates to throw it out because it looks like it's in pretty good shape. So here again, take a look at it, see if we can get it to run. We'll see what that involves. The next one is another one somebody found sitting around, hasn't been working in quite some time. This is a generator. What is this thing anyways? Don't really see a label here. Let's see. It's Gen Power 305, 10 horsepower. I don't know the wattage ratings or anything like that without really looking at it too close. But anyways, they say the only thing this thing needs is the carburetor clean. So therefore, I'm guessing it was probably, there again, full of gas and needs to be cleaned up from that. And then we also got, this was a heck of a day. I don't normally get but 1, maybe 2 things in a day come in to me, and a lot of days nothing at all. But today we got this one. He says it starts and runs, but it don't run good. Then he started looking around and he realized that up underneath here, there's actually a primer bulb in there. He didn't even realize it, and as you can tell, it is totally disintegrated. So we'll pull the carburetor off, throw a primer bulb on that, and that should be all it takes. He says it was running, it just didn't do very well and didn't start very easy. So I think that'll take care of that problem. So we're going to do this one first. We'll just pop this off and like I say, find a little primer bulb, slide that in there, and that's about all that's going to take. we don't want to add any more fuel to the fire. So we're going to try it one more time, just like this. Okay, we'll fire it up one more time. Good enough. That's got one down. Let's go for the next one. Okay, we successfully did the fix on the blower. I guess that was partially my fault. I flooded it out, but I don't know if I did or if it was just flooded and the plug was gummed up to start out with. So anyways, it runs fine. We're good to go on that one. That's ready to turn back over, and we're going to start on the little push mower. And I usually like to do that with my first thing is clean it up and see what she looks like. That way we're going to do a little carburetor cleaning, I believe is what this one called for. So first thing, a little super clean and a hose and wash her down. Let's see if we can get her cleaned up so it looks good. We'll go from there. Okay, we've got her all cleaned down with the super clean and ready to be worked on. I just don't like working on dirty units, and I don't think my customers mind that I send it back looking clean and like new. So we'll go ahead and let that dry just a little bit and probably go ahead and start on another one. I think the next one I probably need to work on is this generator. That's the next, probably biggest, most important one. And it, I don't know if I'm going to get it down and clean it or not. We probably will just try to take that off of there. That's a heavy old sucker to pick up. So we might start on that. Let's see what I can do with it. Okay, we took the cover off of this little generator. The filter don't look really all bad, so that ain't been in bad shape. We took the two nuts off to get the this cover off. The little thing here, a little bit of a pain, but it does pop up off of there with a little bit of force. And then we get in here and look at the carburetor. And if you look at this, the nuts go over this outside out here, and that's what holds everything on the outer cover. But this inner bolts, you can see there's, I don't know how well you can tell that, there is little grooves there. And what I find I'm able to use is a little 5/32 wrench, and it will go on that and loosen it up. But that thing's fairly loose. I hadn't even touched that yet, and it's that loose. So they've not been tightened up. I don't know if somebody's been in here. It looks almost like somebody got a hold of that with a pair of pliers, but that's not probably the ideal thing. The little socket works a little bit better. So pull these on out. Take note of what we have up here. We have a little spring just hooked into the back side. I don't know how well you can see that. We'll disconnect that, and then as you take the carburetor off, we'll be able to pull that other little notch off. Just remember that's how it goes back together. Take pictures if you need to. Okay, once we get those bolts removed, we've got them ready to go. We do need to remove the gas line here. They do have a shutoff on this one. It feels like that's shut off. I'm not 100% sure. We'll go ahead and pull that clamp off of there. I've got a little tub to catch the gas if it is not a shut off, and also keep me a good golf tee sitting around. Just plug in there, and that'll usually fit most of your gas lines to plug them up so you can go ahead and work on them. And we'll hopefully just have that shut off up underneath there work. So let's see what we're going to have when we tear it apart. Okay, that came off of there. The whole carburetor just pulls off. No problem there. I do not like where that darn fuel shutoff is located at. That's about the worst setup. You can't hardly get in there to it. Apparently the gas tank is empty enough. I didn't get anything out of it. So we'll go ahead and turn around here, and we're just going to take the bowl apart, a couple screws in that, and see if it's gummed up or not. Clean it up, see what we got. pretty clean in there. That does not look bad either. It's really not in too bad a shape, so we're not going to have a whole lot of cleanup, I don't think. Let's see what she looks like underneath there. That's what she's looking like. Oh, that's fairly clean. I think what we'll do is just flow a little bit of carburetor cleaner through it, and I think we're really, it's not in that bad a shape, so we'll see what we can do with it. A little carb choke cleaner and flush her out. We'll blow a little bit through the inlet here, make sure all those ports are clear, and we'll be in good shape, I think. Okay, next, before I put this carburetor back on there, after I kind of cleaned it up, it don't look bad, but I took a little air and I just blew it back up that line, opened up my gas line, and boy, that stuff coming out of there looks like tar down in there. So what we're going to do is add a little bit of gas in there, rinse that out, see if we can get some of that tar out of it, make sure we get good clean gas ready to go back in. This probably wouldn't have hurt to have had a little filter in this line. I didn't really mention anything about it. We might add that in if we talk to them, but right now we'll go ahead and put some good clean gas in it, rinse it around, flush it out, and then we'll put the old carburetor back together. Okay, this heavy old beast, I had to get it down off the stand to get it ready to start up and try, so we've got my little lift here that I've used. You've probably seen that in several videos. We've cable strapped it up, got her down here on the bottom. I went ahead and we've drained the gas out of it, and yeah, that stuff and flushed it a couple more times. It looks like nasty. If it looks like that, you need to replace it. So we've got all that replaced. We're going to go ahead and see if she starts up, and once we get her started up, we'll probably be too noisy to tell. We got a vacuum cleaner plugged in the back of it. We'll make sure that that's got something that'll run off of it. So let's see what we can do with it real quick. Turn her on, and okay, she seems to be running smooth. I think that's all that one's going to take too, so that takes two of them off my list. Let's see if my lawnmower out here's dried off. It looks like it's in pretty good shape, so we'll go ahead and pull this one around, get it loaded back up, I think, on top of that bench, because that's the only way I'm going to get it into my truck. I can't quite get my truck in the garage here. And we'll wheel it out to the truck so we can take it on back to them. So let me get this one settled around and pull the other one in. Oh, and I do need to finish putting that carburetor back together up there, the air filter and all. That won't take but a couple minutes, so we'll knock that out too. Okay, we've got a little lawnmower in here, and I'm just suspicious maybe of this gas being, I think he said it was sitting outside for a year. So we're going to go ahead, and I've got my little tester here. We're going to go ahead and pull some samples and see if we got gas or what we got. That looks more like water than gas. Let's put us a couple of them in here. That's gas. That's pretty darn diluted gas. What we do is go ahead and fill some of this up, and I'm gonna have to take a little bit of gas and throw in there to see if this is even gas or if it's just full of water. And the way we do that, if we look at that, that acts more like gas or water. Smells like gas a little bit, but not too much. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and I'm going to get a little bit of gas out of my gas tank and just take a little bit and drop it in there, and we'll see what happens to it. We won't need much, just enough to see if it's actually gas or water. We'll pour just a little bit of gas in there. And that's doing exactly what I thought it was going to do. It's more water than gas. And the way we can tell that, I don't know if you can see this real well, but you can see there are puddles right in the bottom of it. You can see that that's water in the bottom. It's always going to separate, and the water's going to go to the bottom, and gas will be up on top. So we're definitely going to have to clean the carburetor, get all the water out of it, and see how badly it's been sitting in there, corroding it up. We definitely don't want any of that in the gas tank either, so we'll drain that out. So we'll go ahead and throw this up on a bench someplace and maybe get the generator loaded on the truck and put it up on that one maybe. Let's see what I can do. Okay, I dumped what I could of water out of there, just tipping it over and getting rid of it. I've taken the screw out of this and look in here, and that's what I'm seeing. And you can just see the nasty crud everywhere in here. So I guess my next step is going to be I'll pull these two screws off, get that off of there, and we're definitely going to have to go find us a new air filter, because that is just full of roaches. Woohoo! Yeah. So anyways, that about scared me. Startled me. So yeah, that's not going to be any good. We're going to have to go find us a new one of those for sure. So we'll clean that up a little bit, and I think we're going to go on a parts search. Okay, we made a quick trip to town. So we had an air filter, of course, is bad. I went to town and found me another one. Matches up size-wise, even comes with the other little one that can go in front of it. And I believe that one there, it was in this box, so I'm assuming that's the correct box. 30-800. It's a Briggs & Stratton 491588S. It matches up, so I'm pretty sure that's the part number for that one. So we're going to go ahead and clean all this up and throw this one away, because it's no longer worth even taking up room on the bench. And now we're going to come back over here, and we're going to inspect a couple things here, because it looks like first thing I'm noticing is my little return spring here should come up and hook to this point, and it's rusted right in half. So I'm going to have to try to find me a new spring for that one, because it's not going to run very good without it, and that's just rusted. That's one of those things that happens when you leave your equipment outside. This other spring looks all right. We'll have to disconnect it probably, set it off to the side, and then we'll get a hold of a couple of bolts here and take those off and pull that carburetor, because it's definitely going to be dirty. So that doesn't look like too bad. Maybe yeah, what do we got here? It's 3/8. And so we'll go ahead and pop this one and this one under here. Open this thing up. The carburetor should come on off. I've already removed the gas line, of course, before, so should be nothing else but the linkage. I'm hoping the rest of this will kind of come with it. I might have to take this one here off also, it looks like. So I had to take that other spring off. Yeah, that looks like a little 1/4 inch or something. Nut driver on that. There we go. Let that hang right there, and then this will just twist off of here. There we go. We'll take this to the bench and see if we can do some serious cleanup. Carburetor outside so that we don't get more trash in it than what we already have. And I've taken this off, which it was very tight to get off. Now we'll see. A lot of water, or gas supposedly, actually came out of it. Let's see how bad the darn thing looks. Well, that ain't real bad there. We had a little cleaning on that. I can live with that. And our, I don't know if you can see that in there, but that's not moving at all. Our little jet's not going up and down at all. So we'll have to pull this float off and get in there and pull that out. This is totally gummed up. Man, this is going to be a toughie. We'll go ahead and start tearing it apart. Like I say, also we got, set this out the way a minute. Let's see if we can get you a little bit. I think we just went through this on the other carburetor. It's the same thing. Take our pin out, pull this up, and hopefully that should come right on out, but it's not. So we're going to have to maybe use a little bit of force and see if we can get it out of there. There we go. Yeah, look at the gum and nasty on that thing. So we'll go ahead and start cleaning it up. It's just a lot of carburetor cleaning, a little scrub brush, and see how much of it we can get out of there and see if we can salvage it. Okay, let's see if we can make sure you're seeing what I got here. I've gone through and cleaned it all up. We want to make sure that we get it all. So in this particular one, there is a small hole here. And tip cleaners are really your best friend. You can take your little tip cleaners, run it in there, and you actually will be able to see that it's cleaned out. That's your little brass tip. I don't know how well all this is going to show up. But when you put your little cleaners in there, you'll see there's a little hole on this side. Make sure that's clean. If you can find it without looking, that's good. But then you'll watch, it just comes straight up in there. You just want to make sure that's cleaned out and then flush it good. The next part we want to make sure of, in this plug that goes into the bottom of your cup, there's little holes in this one. Make sure that those are cleaned out, and also right here on the tip, because that's going to allow the gas to come in and go on up into your jet. So you need to make sure that's good. The next thing we need to make sure of is that we've cleaned the little stop jet here, and make sure that that slides in and out freely. We're going to have to maybe clean that even more, but make sure that moves freely before we put it back together. Might clean that just a little bit more because that's sticking, and we cannot have that stick at all. So that's got to be very free floating, and there's a little rubber seal way in the bottom of this that we want to make sure is not damaged. You should be able to look at that and tell if it is or not. So we'll set that back in there and make sure she's free moving, and then we'll just set the float back on top of it, close it up, and see if it's clean enough to get us going. Okay, we've got the carburetor all put back together. She's looking pretty good, all cleaned up. Next step is let's go ahead and set her back on the lawnmower. We're still going to have to find a spring for that, but we'll go ahead and set this all back together the same way it came apart, and we should be good to go. So let me put her all together. We'll see what we can find for a spring. Hopefully I'll get something that'll work. Okay, we've got the carburetor all back on, hooked up, and I just temporarily put the other spring on there. I kind of just stretched it. I don't know if you can tell or not. I didn't have a new one, so we'll have to find one of those before we probably turn it back over to the customer, but I think it'll be good enough to go ahead and see if we can give it a pull and just see if you don't start right up. If I'm lucky, I should be able to just pull in the bar and give her a tote. Let's see what she does. Like she's going to run like a champ. We'll go ahead and put the rest of the covers on it and push this one over and say, I think that's good for that. So that was a dirty old carb. We'll finish cleaning that up, put the new stuff on, and call it finished on this one. We'll see what we want to work on next. Okay, the next one we're going to work on is the WS210. This is a Craftsman, which is kind of the same as everybody else's, I think. I'm looking it over a little bit. We got it out, a little bit of moisture there. We'll clean that up a little bit. He does not know anything about this. This thing may fire right up. And I think what I'm going to do is add a little bit of gas in it, pump it, make sure it goes through the carburetor. If it does that, we might just see if it'll start up. So let's just add the gas and see if she goes. Okay, I've added gas and we're pumping and fuel's going through it. So that's a good sign. Let's see if she'll just pop off if I hit it a couple times. We'll throw a little choke on it. Let's see if you, I don't know what we got going here. A little choke. Let's see if she'll do anything. Heck yeah, we'll go half choke. She popped off a little bit, so let's see if she'll go ahead and go. Well, guess he probably could have gone ahead and saved him a little bit of money and not had me fool with it. That didn't take anything, so we'll put her back together and call that one a complete too. Okay, next one on the list is Troy-Bilt 27cc T880EC. Here again, condition totally unknown. So I'm going to do the same thing. We'll pull the cover off of it, get into the filter. This thing is almost a cousin to the one I just got done with on the other Craftsman. Well, except for this one, don't want to come apart there that easy. Let's see. Oh, it's just that cover. Okay, that's why. Let's get a little of that. We'll take a little peek in there, make sure the carburetor looks pretty decent. It does. Fuel lines not broken. Let's look in the fuel tank, make sure that we've still got a filter down there. We do. We got return lines. I think I'm going to do this the same way I did the last one. We're going to see if there's actually anything even wrong with it. We're going to add a little bit of fuel to it. No sense in spending a whole lot of time on these. I don't even normally work on little Craftsmans and stuff because they're hardly worth putting money into them. When you can buy a new little weed eater for less than $100, they don't really make good sense to fix and replace a whole lot on them, not on these Craftsmans and all. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and pump it, see if we get some gas in it. And you can pump these things as much as you want to. It's not going to hurt them any. Can't tell. I think that's getting something in there. I think it is. I'm not really positive. And the only thing I do know is this return line. They've got it in there running around in circles. I'm not really sure that's got anything. We're going to try to pull it over and just see if it does, but I don't think it's getting anything. So let's just pull it. Might not be so lucky on this one. Let's see. Might even get luckier. She sure did one pop. She must be needs a little choke on it. I think these diaphragms are probably just wore out. So we're going to go ahead and fire it a couple more times, see if we can get it to run, and just loosen up the diaphragms. That could be all it's needing. Okay, not quite as lucky as I was hoping I was going to be after it started a couple times. Now I'm pushing in on the primer bulb and it's not wanting to come back out. So yeah, it may need a carburetor rebuild here. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can tear it apart. It's just taking a couple screws out of this and pulling that carburetor back. And let's see what we got inside of it. Okay, I've taken the carburetor loose and we've got the cover. I just took that off, 4 little screws, pulled that off, and I'm looking at my little diaphragm here. We've kind of had to take a little utility knife, gently go around there. But you can tell, if you're listening, I don't know if you can hear it or not, very crunchy. Just ain't working, and actually looks like there's a little hole here in it too. So that's not going to work. We're going to have to get something new for that. I don't know if I've got another one of those laying around or not. So we're going to check, make sure everything else looks decent. And if it does, we'll find us a new one of those little kits. Maybe rebuild this one. Let me see if I've got one. If not, I don't know as though he's going to want to go too much money for a new carburetor or anything. So let's see what we got. Okay, we've got the new gasket. I did find one. It's not all crunchy. We got it put back in there. Like I say, just make sure you put it in there the right way up. It'd be that direction. So your little pin here is going to hit on the little lever in there for your gas. And also went ahead and checked this side out and made sure, and we put a new primer bulb on there to make sure that's good. So we'll go ahead and put this on back together, and let's see if that took care of the issue or not. We're hoping anyways. The bulb is acting correctly now, so I think we probably have it. So let's just give it a minute. We'll give her another fire. Okay, we'll go ahead and let's see if this thing will pop off and go and see what she does. Sound too bad. I think she'll run too, so I think we'll go ahead and put that one on back together and go on to something else. We're making progress on these little bad boys. Okay, we're going to wrap this one up with the Craftsman 20-inch saw. And the problem with this one, he said it would run, it'd start up and go, and then after it got warm, it would not restart again. So I went out and I didn't really know what I was going to be looking for, but we went ahead and run this saw on a tree out back that I had, and it runs really good. It powered up and cut like crazy. As soon as I shut it off, I tried firing it right back up again. No problem. It would start right back up again. So I brought it in here and set it on the bench for a minute, wondering what his problem was. I said, well, let me try it one more time, and I did. And it wouldn't start, so finally got it to where it wouldn't. I ended up, I said, well, it don't look like it had any gas in the primer bulb. So I went ahead and primed the bulb several times, and no gas was getting to it. So something was going on with the fuel system. He put a brand new carburetor on it, he said, so I don't think that was the problem. So I started looking it over, and when I did, I found these fuel lines. And this one here was the one that went down into the tank, and it had the filter on this end of it, but inside of that it has this tubing here. I don't know what that is. Most of them don't have that inner sleeve, and the other one coming up to the carburetor was really loose, and you could see it was leaking a little bit. So I thought, well, that's probably what it's doing then. It's losing its prime after it gets warmed up or whatever, and that rubber gets a little bit loose, but all the rest of this is very hard and brittle anyways. And then the return line out of the carburetor to the primer bulb, started looking at it, and it actually had a crack in it, and that crack goes the whole way down. I don't know if we can see that on the camera or not, but it actually looks like somebody took a knife after it and cut it and slit it the whole way. I don't know if you can see that. Now, how that wasn't leaking and causing an issue, I don't know, but it was running. So we've replaced both of those fuel lines. And that appears to be all there was to it. It was leaking so much around there. When it got a little bit warm up in there, it would lose its prime and not be able to prime itself again because of all the air leaks, and would stop off. So I think we're going to be good with that. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up one more time out there and cut some more trees, see if it sets a minute and it won't start. But I think we're good to go on that one too. So that was a full day of working on a bunch of things, from weed eaters to push mowers and generators and whatnot. Hopefully a couple of them, maybe you found some hidden tricks and things to look at and for some quick troubleshooting. And we'll go ahead and call these all pretty good. I think I'm going to go ahead and sharpen this chain for them real quick on this one too. And we should have this wrapped up. So I appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, those type of things, I always appreciate those. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk to you on the next projects.